Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. I just posted a little feed on Facebook in regards to our Wednesday night bite night. We got kind of a regular night we're trying to build up and get some more people to come on out with us. Okay. One of those statements in that little post was that your dog needs to qualify. So what does that mean when you say that dog has to qualify? Well, first off, it has to be a breed that can be stimulated into getting the controlled aggression going and work on the development of the behaviors that you need for a protection dog. And the other aspect of it is that the dog has to qualify in stability. Okay, that means it's got to be a dog you can take anywhere with you and greet him into people with a greeting command. The dog is social and is stable. Okay, we don't do area guard dogs. Okay, in the old days, they used to do a lot of area guard dog work where you'd tease a dog behind a fence, and that liability is so high nowadays that I won't touch it. Okay, if you want me to just come out and tease your dog and get your dog to be mean, you're not talking to somebody that's going to do the job for you. I'm not your boy. Okay, so in a nutshell, it has to be a dog that has some development or is going to be able to be developed. If he's a young puppy, he qualifies right away because he probably doesn't have problems with reactivity, being aggressive towards people out in public, is not friendly, that reactivity issue, dog aggression, people reactivity, dog aggression, dog reactivity, those things would disqualify your dog. Okay, so that, and then your relationship with the dog and having some kind of form of obedience, or again, if it's a young enough puppy, we'll come out and do puppy work. We have all kinds of little stuff that we do for puppies. We do line agitation or circular agitation, and we'll stimulate them, whatever, we'll get them going. But we want to make sure that you are a responsible owner. And that means that you have a good obedience on the dog has got stability, and that you can do something with him in that regards. If you can't, it's a waste because I'm not going to put the work on him. So, but if you're interested and you live in the area up here in the high desert, or you want to take a drive, you want to come up and see us, you're more than welcome to. We have a full agility course to use. We do obedience in the beginning of class, get a little bit of obedience going, and then after the dogs do the obedience, they get put away and they get brought out individually to do the work. Depending, sometimes we might do line agitation depending on the dogs. If you have a weak dog that's not been what I call sparked, in other words, the dog doesn't have a clue what the game is all about yet, we'll put them on a line agitation, put strong dogs on either side of them, and that will stimulate the dog because these other dogs are doing the job to bark and go crazy on the bad guy. That will stimulate the dog into starting to go after that behavior, right? We're building a behavior. I always like to tell my customers that protection is no different than any other behavior you're dealing with. The only difference is the drive states, okay? Your drive states are definitely changing when you start putting a controlled aggression on the animal. Now, in our class, we don't necessarily do any specific sport, but Alex has got experience with him behind him in Schutzen. Tina's been doing Schutzen for 30 years. If you guys are interested in trying to do something like that and you're trying to build a certain behavior within the routine, more than happy to help you out with that. There's all kinds of different sports. There's PSA, there's ring sport, we don't really specify any main sport. It's not a ring trainer that we have up here that we're dedicated to a certain sport. My personal opinion and what I'm into is more real. So in other words, a personal protection dog, a dog that we trained a little bit differently with a little bit more of an edge. I want a good trigger on the dog. There's a lot of people that I've seen videos online that negatives, or they're negative against trainers that teach a trigger. I don't believe that because I want a trigger to be able to set deterrent factor. The idea behind a protection dog, okay, is that you never have to have the dog bite somebody, all right? And if you do your job properly, where that dog is hitting the fences, giving a good show, and showing that aggression in certain key areas, and letting your neighbors and letting your community know that you have a protection trained dog, you're going to deter ever having to use that dog. And that's the whole goal, okay? Another thing that's a kind of a fallacy that people don't understand is they think that when you train a dog towards protection, that you make the dog vicious. It's farthest from the truth. You actually get more reliability, more stability, more everything when the dog understands when he's supposed to show this aggression and when he's not, okay? And that is a big part of our trade in life, that these dogs have to be stable and they have to know when. That's why we call it controlled aggression, right? They have to know when they're supposed to exhibit this behavior, and it's not something that's just a loose cannon behind a fence and that's just a vicious dog. That's a liability because the dog has no stability and you don't know where his head's at in the work, and that's what's important. You always hear me talking about about. Where's the dog's head's at in the work? It's very important that we have a stable dog that's not just totally vicious and not reliable, and that's not what we're after. We're after a dog that does a good show of force and understands how to do the job. And with personal protection, that's what we're training. And I could get into some of that, but you're better up to come up to me and I can explain it to you exactly. There's a lot of difference between real and what we do to build a real personal protection dog and what they do for sport. For one, I'm not going to have a dog that does tracking for the most part. You're not going to send your dog out to find a bad guy and send him out and do tracking and let him take a bite at the end of the thing. That's police work, right? There's always a control factor within the dog's job, right? And then you get to a point where you get like a Joker's executive protection status, and that dog can be customized for whatever the customer may need. Do I have a business and I want my dog sitting behind the counter and has been trained to basically stay behind that line, and right when somebody broaches that line, that's when he's going to come into action? There's all kinds of, do I have a need for a dog that I do a lot of bank drops and I'm going late at night and I want the dog to learn to be a little bit sharper in those areas? That's customization, that you take a dog when he's a green dog, when he's like Joker, and now you start putting that customization on what the customer may need in their environment. If you're interested in that kind of dog, I've got several of them that are available. Joker would be on the high end of wanting to get placed. That dog has got a lot of potential. This dog can do anything you want to do. If you've seen Joker, this dog is all that and then some. And then you've got Buddy that's getting raised. He's about 15 months of age. His price is a little higher because I put a lot of work into him, but he's ready to be able to be bought. Anything I have is for sale with the right price. Okay, keep that in mind. So we do sell trained protection dogs. We do sell green dogs. We sell puppies. You see my Dutch Shepherds that I'm selling right now. Those dogs have been bred with the genetics to do the job, and that's what it's all about. And a lot of these dogs, I've got probably 3 or 4 dogs right now that are on police departments that I placed in police departments, or actually that have gone through my hands and may have ended up with a police dog trainer and been flipped into being on the street. And I've got several of them that I'm real proud of that have done a hell of a job. And it takes a foundation. It takes building and raising that dog in the right way and doing all the development that I do that allows that dog to be picked up by a police department. And that's what I do. So I thank you very much, Mark Ferrasci with Protect Dog Training, talking to you about Wednesday night bite night. Give us a yell. Thanks. Bye-bye.